Okay, hey everybody, Marcia from Be So Creative here today, and Becky is going to be giving you some great embroidery tips that will help you improve your embroidery. And so, Miss Becky, take it away.
Thank you, Marcia. Hello, ladies. I'm glad to be here. I'm going to share with you some of my embroidery hooping hacks and tricks. So we're going to start first with this trick where I put permanent double-sided tape on the back of a hoop. You take your inner hoop, you put tape, and I'm calling these corners, but they're not really a corner, it's the curve, on all four curves. You insert your template. That will give you the grid markings. And then on my fabric, what I've done is I have taken my spray adhesive, I have sprayed the back of my fabric, and I have stuck it onto my stabilizer. And then I've marked where I want the center of the design to be. And I know it's a little red line that's hard to see, but I did put my red crosshairs on the fabric. And if your block is an exact size, then you can mark the exact center of your block. If you don't need to know where the center is, you don't have to mark it. So what I do is I've got my inner hoop taped, and I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm going to put these markings exactly under the grid. You want to come over here and show them that there's my markings, and here's my grid, there's the center, and these lines go on the markings I made. It could be just a little X even. And then you press down really hard, and now the fabric and stabilizer is stuck on your hoop, the inner hoop. And I'm going to loosen the outer hoop up a wee bit, and then you grab all of your stabilizer and inner hoop, and then you hoop it. So remember, start at the top, press it around, and it wasn't loose enough, so I got to loosen my hoop up a little bit more. There. And then it's all lined up, because I can see it under my hoop, all lined up. And so you can tighten it up. If you need to adjust, by pulling a little bit so it's tight enough. Tighten up your hoop. And then when you take off your grid, you have it hooped with your center marking in the center. And it's all ready to embroider. Okay, my second tip is marking your stabilizer. I've hooped a piece of stabilizer in a hoop, and then what I do is I take it over to my cutting mat that has the nice lines on it, and I line up the top and the bottom and the two sides on the inch marks where I have a line. It's kind of hard to see through this stabilizer, so I went ahead and I marked it prior. So there's my red marks, and then I take a ruler and I just draw on the line that I can see through the stabilizer with my favorite marking device. And this happens to be one of those that will come off with heat, and I mark it both ways. And that tells you where the center of the hoop is. And then I'm going to float the fabric or spray it and then mash it down. What I do is I finger press the center of the fabric. I spray the back of it, and I use a box or go outside to protect it from the spray of your adhesive spray. And because you know the overspray of its adhesive spray goes everywhere. So this is just my box to spray in, and then I take my fabric out that has spray on it and I fold on the lines, the finger pressed lines, take it to my stabilizer, and I lay it down in the corners, like your markings have made quadrants. So I lay a quadrant down, open it up, make sure it's nice and straight, press it down because you have the spray stabilizer on it. On the back of your fabric you have stabilizer, so you can press it down, and then you've stabilized and put on your piece of fabric, and it's ready to embroider on. My third tip is repairing all kinds of, say, tears or extra holes that are in your stabilizer, and you want to keep using that piece of stabilizer because you have something that's that size and you had all this left over. So what I have here is a hole, and you can take cutaway stabilizer that has the sticky on it, and you peel off the paper and you make sure it's bigger than your hole, and then you just adhere it to the stabilizer. You can spray stabilizer and place it over the hole, and it repairs the hole, and then you can go and use this as for your project. You can do it with just a lightweight tearaway. And if you have wash away stabilizer, save your pieces, you can do the same thing, and to adhere this you would just use a little bit of water to make it stick down, and then you've repaired a hole. Or if it is the kind of wash away stabilizer that has a sticky back on it, you can peel off the paper backing and stick it to your hole, and you have a new piece of stabilizer to use. If you're stitching lace, sometimes so many stitches go in around the lace that you start to see little tears. Take some of your wash away stabilizer and put it over the tear. Like, maybe your tear is just right there and the design is where that hole is. Just repair it that way, and it will be great. And you can also, I would advise that you save your stabilizers, little scraps, for this very purpose. Put them in a plastic bag and just mark it as to what kind of stabilizer it might be, and then you have a little stash of usable pieces for repairing stabilizer. I've even saved big pieces of my sticky back, and you can repair a hole like I did here, because you can see that I have repaired that hole. So I could use this piece maybe in a hoop and just a few of my little tips and tricks today, and I thank you for tuning in.